about a bunch of other stuff with sleep, and right now I want to focus on the idea that's similar to the idea that a calorie is not equal to another calorie necessarily. So if you're talking about 100 calories of fruits and vegetables, it's not the same as 100 calories of tortilla chips and wine. Having said that, I love tortilla chips and wine, and if it was, I'd be all in. So, but in terms of sleep, yes, we talk all the time about how 8 hours of sleep is what everybody needs. There's like a less than 0.001% of the population that can exist efficiently off of less than that, but assume that you're not one of those people. So when we say everybody needs 8 hours of sleep, that's a great place to start. It's kind of like somebody saying, they want to start a nutrition program. What do I do? And if their intake is out of whack, then I might say, all right, we need to get you to 1,200 calories a day. So 1,200, it's a great place to start. 8 hours is a great place to start, but within that 8 hours, just as in the same way that like within 1,200 calories, we can dig a little bit deeper and we can geek out a little bit with the sleep piece of it. So for some reason, when I was growing up and up until basically about a year ago, I assumed that REM sleep was like the way to be because I love the band and I just thought it made a lot of sense to me. So I always thought that non-REM sleep is just kind of what you have to go through to get to the good stuff in REM sleep, which turns out that's not the case. It turns out that we need all of it, and all of it is beneficial in the right amounts. So to understand REM sleep and non-REM sleep, there is this thing with cycles, and I think some of us know that, but when we fall asleep, we fall into something like a 90-minute cycle, and those 90-minute cycles go on all night long. When you fall asleep, most of us like somewhere, I don't know, like around 9 or 10 o'clock. So we start out that first part of our sleep. So say the first half or so of sleep, we're getting mostly, it's kind of biased towards non-REM sleep. And that's the more restorative side of the REM sleep stage. As the clock ticks by and we get more into the early morning hours and closer to daybreak, then that starts to shift over, and those 90-minute cycles turn into more of REM sleep. So it shifts a little bit during the night. The 90-minute cycles stay the same, but in terms of which one it's biased towards, it's more in the early parts, it's non-REM, and in the evening or the later parts, it's more REM sleep. So, and the REM sleep, so the difference between the two, the non-REM sleep is more of like a deeper, more restorative. It's kind of, I think of it as like when we recharge. And then the later one, the REM sleep is kind of like when we're dreaming a lot. And again, they're both really important. What's interesting is that those cycles start regardless of what time you go to bed. So if you go to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock, you'll get a nice sort of balance of the two different stages of those. If though you go to bed at 1, 2, or 3 o'clock, you're really sort of missing that heavier dominated sleep cycle in terms of the non-REM sleep, and you're getting more of the REM sleep, which would explain why, say you went to bed at 2 in the morning and you got up at 10 o'clock in the morning, you still got 8 hours of sleep, but you don't feel quite as rested. That's because you're not getting as much of the non-REM restorative sleep, and you're getting more of the dreamlike sleep. So yes, you're getting 8 hours sleep, which is good. Like I said, it's good to get the 8 hours, but then we want to get the right amount and the right kind of sleep. So that's why it's important to get it at the right time. Now, there is a little window. It seems that there's a window between about 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. where it depends on the person. So some people, I can tell at 8 o'clock, that's when I need to go to bed. I get cranky, I get really tired, I'm yawning, I can barely stay awake. That's clearly to me when I should be going to sleep. I go to bed on the early end, and I like to get up on the early end. Some other people, and it changes with age and it changes with your genetics and everything, but some people they just feel more comfortable going to bed at 11 p.m. at night and waking up later, like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter so much as long as you're getting to bed around that 8 to 12 p.m. window, and that's when you'll get the most efficient sort of bang for your buck in terms of how your balance is with the non-REM sleep and the REM sleep. What is dangerous is people we have a lot of firefighters, police officers, nurses, paramedics, those people that have these odd hours that they're sleeping. That, you know, like I said, if they're going to bed later, like in the early morning stages, like 4 o'clock in the morning, they're missing a lot of that restorative sleep. So that's number one bad. And then on top of that, we're seeing them trying to do the right thing by getting into the gym at 9:30 for the class so they get their workout in, but now they've cut their sleep down also. So they've fallen asleep at an inefficient time of the day and they're getting less sleep. So it leads to all sorts of things like obesity, heart attack, higher rate of an early death, and then lots of brain power stuff like memory, processing speed, and etc. So it's really important in terms of quality. That's just one little piece of it, and we can dig deeper into some other things. But in terms of your cycles and your circadian rhythms and stuff, try to get to sleep between 8 p.m. and midnight, and definitely keep trying to get the 8 hours of sleep that we keep preaching about. All right, Stephanie, go get it. Sleep, that is.